Peace, Apatuwashte. My name is YoNasDa Lonewolf, and we are in another episode of Walk in My Moccasins. There's a Native American proverb which is, "You never know a man or a woman until you have walked a mile in their moccasins." And I am so happy to have Student Minister Nuri Muhammad. Minister Nuri, you have been like, no bias on any other student ministers, but you're like one of my top favorite student ministers in the Nation of Islam. The way that you have your books, I've read your books. You're a critically acclaimed author. You are an amazing community organizer. You know how to build up a community, build up a people. You have been on the Breakfast Club and so many other major news. And on top of it, just like many other people that are speaking truth to power, you're also currently shadow banned on social media again. So, and you know what? And that means that you're doing something right. So I'm so happy that you are on Walking My Moccasins. And, one thing that, that I've noticed growing up in the Nation of Islam is that we really do not know a lot of our believers or the student ministers' backstory of what got them to be able to, find Islam and to be able to want to be able to be a better person and to, have a more disciplined lifestyle with God. So thank you for coming on.
Oh, Sister YoNasDa, ha. Did I say it right?
Yes, you did.
YoNasDa, ha. It is an honor and a privilege, my dear, beautiful sister, to share space and time with you. And I'm thankful to you for activating the seed that came from Allah, God, the Creator. He put this seed in your mind some years ago.
Hmm.
And it took a little bit of sunshine, rain, and a sprinkle of the COVID
You're right.
to activate it. But I'm glad you have, because um, I'm intrigued by, as you call it, the backstory. When they
Hmm.
show the 30 for 30 on ESPN, when they show the life and the work ethic and whatnot, and sacrifices and trials that people had to go through
Yes.
to become, proficient
Yes.
in a craft. Even when they do the stories behind the music,
Hmm.
or the TV1 series where they talk about of course, they take the artist that has fallen off and kind of walk you through where they
Yes.
were when they went up and how they went down.
Yes.
And I think that it's important, because everybody is an example for us. Not
Hmm.
always what we should do, sometimes an example of what we shouldn't do, but we won't know if
Yes.
we don't explore. So I'm honored to be able to, you know, show you the couple miles that I walked in my Jordan moccasins.
I'm gonna have to get you some Jordan moccasins too. One of the things I got a chance was, well, both of us, we both toured with the Honorable
Right,
Miss Louis Farrakhan for Justice or Else, and I got a
right.
chance to get to know you more. And and one of the things that you was sharing with me was a little bit of your beginnings, of your family, and you were adopted. Can you explain a little bit of your beginnings of how where you were born and who your parents are?
Yes, ma'am. Well, I wasn't adopted, but my,
Okay.
my biological father, I didn't
Mhm.
meet him. I met him once when I was 18, and didn't meet him again till I was 31.
Mm.
But my biological father is from Iran. He's a
Mm.
Persian, and my mother, black woman from America. She
Mhm.
she actually was born in England, though, because
Wow.
her father was in the service. So I have a black mother from America, born in England,
Mhm.
raised in America,
Mhm.
and my father is a Persian Iranian that was born in Iran and moved here when he was maybe 22. Met
Mm.
my mother when she was 18,
Wow.
and my mother was a senior in high school.
Mhm.
Met him. She was working at McDevil's, or I mean McDonald's,
Yes.
and she was at McDonald's working, and he came through, and he was a Arab Negro,
Mm-hmm.
so he came through in his butterfly collar and his polyester bell bottom and his little shiny boots on with the zipper on the inside, and he,
Uh-huh.
he had the nerve to even have an afro. Well, he came in, and my mother and him met, and she got pregnant, and
Mm-hmm.
they decided not to marry or continue the relationship. And
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hear from him again until I started trying to find him as I got introduced to the teachings.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that Iran was a Muslim nation, I wanted to know more about my family. And
Yes. How was it? How was it in the house with your mother? Was it just you? Did she have other children?
I have a younger brother by my mother, and then
Mm-hmm.
I have two biological brothers that I've met from my father. One of my
Mm.
biological brothers from my father is 4 months older than me,
Wow.
and my other biological brother, I just met him 3 weeks ago, and
Wow.
my daughter found him on
Wow.
Instagram
Mm-hmm.
by way of somebody else that she went to school with posting what he did. He was doing a transportation service, and they posted in the story, and she seen his name was
Mm.
the same name I had before and knew it wasn't too many people with it. She DM'd him. Lo
Mm-hmm.
and behold, he's been locked down for many years
Wow.
uh, and just got out
Mm-hmm.
and didn't even know that he was my brother, lived in the same neighborhood with me,
Uh-huh.
told me that I always looked out for him. He was 5 years younger than me. I
Uh-huh.
taught him how to play pencil pop.
Wow.
Is what he told me,
Uh-huh.
and something else. But that's my mother, black woman in America, working real hard.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as a single mother, my brother, 4 years younger than me, that
Mm-hmm.
lived with me. He's
Mm-hmm.
all he's now a firefighter, and he's the first officer in the mosque here.
Wow.
And then my new biological brother was watching lectures of me in prison
Mm.
and had a lot of love for me, but didn't even know I was his biological brother. But
Wow.
we just embraced each other about 3 weeks ago and have been in touch with each other every day since.
Wow. That is so beautiful. So growing up in this house with your mother, what kind of child were you? Were you mannerable? Were you bad? What kind of child were you?
I just now confessed last year that I was bad.
Okay.
My wife told me
Mhm.
that I was bad, but I didn't believe it. So whenever they start hearing I tell my stories. I got locked up in school several times, been
Mhm.
kicked out of school.
Mhm.
Um, I have gotten into a fight with 4 or 5 teachers
Mm.
in school. Used to fight in the streets at least 3 times a week.
Wow. What was one of the reasons? Like what? Why?
Not just being a hoodlum,
Yeah.
just
Okay.
whatever disagreement. Instead of keep on talking, just
Mhm.
hitting somebody. So I was considered, I guess,
Mhm.
a rebel without a cause. And growing up in the neighborhood that I grew up in was, very similar to what you could see in the movies
Mhm.
on The Wire or New Jack City. It
Mhm.
wasn't apartments, but it was a neighborhood where everybody sold dope.
What city
So
was this?
Indianapolis.
Oh, right in
So,
Indianapolis.
so right
Okay.
in Indianapolis. So I grew up on 40th and Boulevard, which
Mhm.
was the hot spot for traffic, dope traffic. And, we had 20, 30 people on
Mm.
a 4 block span posted
Mhm.
up on both sides of the street on each corner for four
Mhm.
blocks straight. And everybody was rich.
Wow.
So we were serving everybody, people's parents, as well as the teachers that were teaching us in school was coming in
Mhm.
the neighborhood getting served. And so um, I started messing around
Mhm.
in the streets and didn't do a lot of corner traffic, and even the people in the neighborhood didn't know I was.
Yeah.
But as I was selling dope, Sister YoNasDa, I felt myself dying on the inside.
Mm.
and I didn't like that feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So I made the pledge that I was through
Yeah.
with the game,
How
and
old were you?
I was 16
16.
at the
Who,
time.
without saying the person's name, who introduced you to that life?
My partner, one of my best friends, who was,
Uh-huh.
he was consistent. His nickname was the Young Kingpin.
Mm-hmm.
So he was, we was 15 years old selling a half ounce a day on the weekdays and an ounce on the weekends
Wow.
between us two. So
Wow.
anybody knows that math,
Yeah.
you talking $3,000 to $5,000 a piece
At
in
15, 16 years old.
1989 or
Yeah.
90 at
Mm-hmm.
15 years of age. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And what I noticed, Sister Yanajaha, is that it's just as hard to stop selling as
Mm-hmm.
it is to stop using.
Mm.
Because while one's addicted to the dope itself,
Mm-hmm.
the other's addicted to the money and what
Mm.
that money can do for you as you move in the world.
Yeah.
So I started, I quit,
Mm-hmm.
and 2 weeks after I stopped, the police started riding around with a picture of me that they took off of a light pole saying they were looking
Wow.
for me. And,
Wow.
I had already quit,
Yeah.
but they still, they were behind time,
Mm-hmm.
and they wanted to know who I was. So all the people in the neighborhood, because most of them didn't know that I was even in the streets because I didn't go to the corner.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I fled, went to another side of town, stayed with relatives, never got on telephones or nothing for a whole
Mm-hmm.
summer,
Mm-hmm.
and prayed that if I can get out of this and keep from being arrested for whatever they have caught me doing,
Mm-hmm.
then I'll leave this alone. So I went back to church,
Mm.
thinking that would give me the strength. But I went to everything too. I went to
Mm-hmm.
Sunday school, Wednesday Bible study, 2 services on Sunday. I did all the textbooks, the workbook. I did everything, but I did not feel myself getting strong enough to
Mm.
resist the pull of the streets.
Wow.
So at the time,
Mm-hmm.
my girlfriend from junior high school
Mm-hmm.
was the child of a sympathizer of the nation who
Mm-hmm.
always took them to see the minister,
Mm-hmm.
Savior's Days, had all the messenger's books,
Mm-hmm.
lectures of the minister in the house. And she gave me a message to the black man
Mm.
and 2 tapes of the minister. And I
Mm-hmm.
never listened to him or read the book. And
Wow.
every day she kept asking me questions.
Mm-hmm.
And then her conversation had become intelligent and I couldn't keep up. I didn't know what she was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, I'm feel stupid.
Yeah.
So I started reading Message to the Black Man.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, this is what I've been looking for
Wow.
all of my life. Listen to some lectures.
Yes.
And then I started to look at the law
Mm.
of Islam. And I said, man, look like it's kind of rough.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I can live this.
Right.
And I made a pledge, Sister Yanaja. I said, look,
Uh-huh.
if I can prove it wrong,
Mm-hmm.
I'll leave this alone for the rest of my life.
Mm.
But if I can't, I'm committing my life to it till the day I die.
Wow.
I spent 8 hours a day
Mm-hmm.
minimum
Mm-hmm.
studying in the library, trying to find the antithesis to the
Mm.
actual facts that God gave the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And
Wow.
even when I thought I had a good argument, I would come to the mosque and I just pulled the brother on doorpost to the side
Mm-hmm.
and drop all this so-called antithesis I had on him. And in a matter
Mm-hmm.
of 2 minutes, he would destroy my little argument. So, you know that old saying, if you can't beat them,
Join them.
don't. So I couldn't prove this to be wrong. So
Yes.
I made a pledge at 16.
At 16.
At 16 years of age, that if I couldn't
Wow.
prove it wrong, I would commit my life to it 100%. 17 years of age, I became a registered FOI,
Mm-hmm.
and the rest has been history.
So you're 17. Now you are living a disciplined life in the midst of this whole drug epidemic that you're surrounded around. And
Right.
and I know you got to be in high school, so I know that there is so many women coming your way, to various temptations that is
Right.
happening. How did you stay committed? Like, how did you stay disciplined during this time?
Well, I think one of the secrets was that, coming up at the time that we came into the ranks,
Mm-hmm.
we had an unspoken alliance with hip hop.
Yep.
And
Mm-hmm.
so the most popular artists uh, today, whoever you want to name, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's Drake, Nicki Minaj, whether it's Migos, whether it's City Girls, whoever you want to name, the
Mm-hmm.
most popular artists during the time whenever we were teenagers were
Mm-hmm.
conscious
Yep.
artists that would represent aspects of the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Black Fist, Black African medallions,
Mm-hmm.
uh, X Clan, Brand Nubian, Poor
Yeah.
Righteous Teachers,
Mm-hmm.
Ice Cube, Wu Tang. You had all these revolutionary rap artists that were the number one artists.
Yeah.
So it wasn't so much of a pull in the
Mm-hmm.
religious sense
Mm-hmm.
because people wanted to be as black as they could be, and you can't get blacker than the black man is God.
Right.
So we were that. So we
Yeah.
were popular in that sense. Um, but the moral side of it, of course, all of my partners that I grew up with,
Mm-hmm.
they all were um, kind of anti me because, in their words, you think you're better than us now.
Yeah.
You don't even come out on a corner no more, so forth. Well, I mean, what am I gonna do on a corner with y'all but get arrested
Right.
for something I didn't do?
Mm-hmm.
So I was always dropping the teachings on them. I stayed in the barbershops
Mm-hmm.
with a Bible, dropping the teachings, and they always argue.
Mm.
But over the course of time, I cried a lot going
Yeah.
home,
Mm-hmm.
and almost physical altercations.
Mm-hmm.
But as time went on, uh, began to wear down these brothers from my neighborhood,
Mm-hmm.
and before long, everybody claimed they were Muslims. Nobody ate swine no more. And it wasn't until I believe 95,
Mm.
after I've been in the ranks 2 years, and
Mm-hmm.
there was a sweep where they locked up 19 of the brothers from my neighborhood
Mm.
and tried to give them life in prison without the
Wow.
possibility of parole. And they
Wow.
were able to convict 11 out of some didn't get tried, but 11 out of the 13 got
Mm.
life in prison, and uh, some of them got till deceased, and most of them are still incarcerated
My
right
God.
now. And I've been in the prisons, the federal
Mm-hmm.
penitentiaries where they are teaching,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and they, of course, got special love now. But that, we live in a world where opportunity may only knock once, but temptation is always leaning on the doorbell.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
How was it? Did you go to the Million Man March?
I did. I was 19 years old
Okay.
at the Million Man March, and
Mm-hmm.
I was an assistant minister
Wow. So
when I
you
was
went through the
17 years old
what? We're in
in
Indianapolis?
Indianapolis. I don't know why
Wow.
they did that to me, but Sister Yanaja, they see, what happened with me is that the same how can you say it, the same grind that I
Mm-hmm.
had for getting money in the
Yeah.
streets, I had that same work ethic for getting knowledge in the teachings.
Wow.
And I
Beautiful.
was hurt
Mm.
because I used to always ask my mother, Mom, you mean tell me you ain't seen no brothers with no final calls, no bean pies? You don't know nothing about Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X. Why come you ain't tell me none of this stuff?
Yeah.
And she's like, I didn't know nothing about none of that stuff. What are you talking about?
Mm.
And I fell 17 years behind. So I was studying.
Yeah.
Even while I was in school, I used to study 8 to 10 hours a day after school, the teachings.
Wow.
So they seen me studying, heard me make comments in our study groups, and
Mm-hmm.
they said, he needs to be on the rostrum. He needs to be in the ministry.
Mm.
And the believers started lobbying for me
Mm-hmm.
without my approval. Because when I joined the nation,
Uh-huh.
I told all the brothers, you'll never catch me in no dress shoes. I always have soldiering boots. I
Uh,
came to be a soldier. I don't want no position.
uh-huh.
I came to do whatever I can do to make a contribution, but I don't want to be nothing but a soldier. I don't want to be in no
Yeah.
leadership. I ain't trying to be speaking, none of that.
That's what you thought.
So they asked me, since Yanaja, they said on a Wednesday, we want you to open up. And I was
Uh-huh.
like, what do you mean open up on a rostrum?
Uh,
It's like, yes, sir. I was like, I'm not feeling too good today.
Yeah.
And the truth is, I was feeling fine until they asked me to speak.
Right.
I immediately got sick.
You did.
So Sunday came,
Uh-huh.
which is the main meeting day for us.
Yes.
And the student minister pulled me to the side and said, rumor has it that you were scared to teach Wednesday. You know you can't tell no black man he was scared.
Right.
So the
I ain't never
traditional,
scared.
come on, now, the traditional Negro reflex
Right.
was, oh, no, sir, I wasn't scared. I just wasn't feeling good. Well, how you
Right.
feeling now? Fine, sir. Good. You on in 5 minutes. Well, wait, hold on a minute.
Hold up.
Yeah. And I went up there and I opened up and I was speaking. I only been registered 3 months. And everybody was standing and clapping. I was like, man, these are some good people in the mosque.
Yeah.
They want to support this little young brother up here making a fool of himself. I know ain't nothing I'm saying that powerful that they doing all this. That's so nice of them. I'm glad I got that out of the way. I'm never doing that again.
Yeah.
But while I was speaking, there was a voice in my head that said, this is what you're born to do. And I didn't know whether it was Prophet Muhammad or Pookie Muhammad. I know whose voice it was.
But it was a voice.
It was a voice. And because I didn't want to go back up there again, I said, man, I think that was Pookie Muhammad, not Prophet Muhammad. And so they end up putting me on to do a whole lecture. And I ended up being an assistant minister at 17 years of age. All my life, I lived wrong and did wrong. And I had a firm resting place at home. But the minute I joined the nation, my mother got back into the Kingdom Hall and wanted to be a Jehovah's Witness again. So I had an ultimatum: either you go to the hall with me or you get out of my house.
Wow.
So I said, fine. I said, I'll leave. I'm gone tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then the next day she told me I didn't have to leave. But I told her, in so many words, that if you are part of anything that will put your son out, because he doesn't want to go to the hall. And I asked her, I said, let me ask you something. What is it that you want to see me become at the hall? And she told me, and I said, what is it about those things that I'm not already there or becoming that in the nation? I said, so if 5 + 2 is used to get 7, or if 6 + 1 or 4 + 3, what difference does it matter what equation you use, long as the product is secured?
That's right.
I said, so if I'm becoming that product, I don't think that's a good way to be. But it's fine. I know I can stay, but I don't want to be here. And I lived in the mosque my senior year in high school and slept on the floor on a styrofoam mattress with some sheets I bought and blankets from the Goodwill.
Wow.
And I went to school from the mosque my senior year in high school. And I only went to school Thursdays and Fridays and had a 4.0 GPA.
Wow.
So that's kind of some of that backdrop, I guess.
Were you judged? Were people, did the minister at that time, was he, welcoming you in and helping you? Or was there judgment? Because sometimes people are like, how is this my assistant minister and he's living here? Like,
they loved it. They loved that I was there because I was selling 1,000 papers a issue. I wasn't going to school on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, but I was soldiering.
Yeah.
So I was fishing.
Yeah.
I was #1 fisherman, #1 in Final Call, #1 in charity. So I had, and then I had 9 soldiers join the nation my senior year in high school from one school.
Wow.
I had 9 registered believers come in the nation that were teenagers.
Yeah.
And we went to school. We went suited and booted on Friday, and the sisters was in white garments. And we didn't carry backpacks. We had briefcases with samples of bean pie and books inside of it.
Yeah.
And we posted up with a recruitment table next to the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines every time they showed up in the school.
I know that's right.
Recruiting for the nation.
Wow.
We didn't have no money, so we can give you a free Final Call and pork byproduct and a pork card and a free Willie Lynch letter, but we was recruiting in
Yeah.
the lunchroom all periods, just like they recruited for the Army, the Navy, or the Air Force.
Wow.
And we had a lot of respect in
Mm-hmm.
the school for stopping conflict and keeping
Mm.
drama. So they let us do it. But so because of that, I was considered to be I guess a valuable asset
Mm-hmm.
to the mosque, and I was doing a lot to help us grow. So I was received with open arms and supported and loved by the brothers, even the brothers that were adults that
Mm-hmm.
was coming in the ranks, because I studied so much.
Mm-hmm.
They would come and they knew what condition I was in,
Yeah.
but I would teach them and they would take me to dinner.
Mm.
And the brother who's the first officer in Los Angeles
Mm-hmm.
right now, actually we used to live together at
Mm-hmm.
the mosque, and he
Mm-hmm.
was a waiter. So he made money, and he would take me to dinner every night somewhere, wherever we went.
Yes.
And all the time we sat, he would give me the physical meal for free, and I would give him spiritual food that I knew for free.
Wow, that is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Did you go to college?
I never went to college. I tried
Mm-hmm.
to go to one of them. What's one of them, Lincoln, Texas, or one of them?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Whenever I got married, because the
Mm-hmm.
sister that introduced me to the teachings as a
Mm-hmm.
teenager,
Mm-hmm.
she ended up getting registered about a month after I got registered,
Mm-hmm.
and we ended up getting married at the age of 19.
So tell me what when you met your wife, because I love your wife.
Yes,
Everyone loves your
man.
wife, you know.
Yeah, she's good.
How was it when you met? How did you know that this is my wife? And you could shout it out. You could shout her
Well,
name out.
Sister Jerry, it was we was the victims of a bootleg matchmaker international. This was this was the original Tinder for teenagers, called Her Best Friend.
Okay.
And so
Call her best friend.
yeah, so I was, I wasn't really into girlfriend and boyfriend, and to the extent like most people was.
Mhm.
That so her best friend told me that you do know that Terry likes you.
Mhm.
I was like, no, I don't know anything about that. She does. What are you gonna do? I was like, I don't know. So we end up start talking,
Mhm.
and this is when we were 14. We were in
Wow.
junior high school. We was in eighth grade.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we start talking to each other and became friends. And I
Mhm.
got a chance to go over to her house, and I never seen the real life Huxtables before until I went over there. I was tripping, Sister Yanaja, how they actually ate dinner together.
You're like, who does this?
I'm like, this is serious. Y'all like TV. This is they actually sitting down as a family eating cooked food. I'm like, this is. We went to either Hardee's or McDonald's 7 days a week, 365 days a year with a $3 budget.
Mhm.
That's it. But so, she that's how we end up
Mhm.
becoming a couple, and we just stayed consistent at being friends and loyal to each other. And
Mhm.
she's always been a very really kind, sweet person, and I tell people
Mhm.
that she taught me how to love,
Mm.
because I didn't know how to love. She never gave me homework assignments or
Mhm.
multiple choice quizzes
Mhm.
or set me down like a teacher, but observation
Yes.
of the way she handled not just me but everybody. Is
Mhm.
just very loving, kind person.
Mhm.
So I had met a whole different side of a human expression that I had never been exposed to
Mm.
on a personal level like that.
Yeah.
And so she remembered the date, March 29th,
Mhm.
when we were 14 years old.
Wow.
And then we ended up getting married on the 5th of July when we were 19
Wow.
years of age. And we just celebrated this past July our
Mhm.
27th year wedding
27.
anniversary.
Congratulations.
Praise be to Allah.
Beautiful. So you write a lot of books on relationships, marriages. I've read them. I already told you that when I find my next divine partner, you're marrying me and my divine partner,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
and you're gonna sit him down and give him the Q&A.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
sending them straight to you. A lot of your books go in depth on relationships. You view relationships in a very wise way. For you to have got married so young, and you're with the same woman for 26 years,
Man.
and how did you, first off, how did you get all of this wisdom to be able, is it from marriage counseling, experiences between you and your wife, like in order for you to have such a vast understanding of love and marriages and relationships from the courting level all the way to the I do?
I think it's D all of the above.
Yeah.
The formula that the world of education uses for learning, they call it CORE as an acronym, CORE, communication, observation, reading, and experimentation.
Mm.
And I think whatever knowledge that I have on the subject, it came from communication, observation, reading, experimentation.
Mm.
Of course, my highest form of communication and observation and reading comes from the study of the minister and Mother Khadijah, and of course the minister's lectures and articles that he's written on Black love and on marriage.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the launching pad, the foundation is trying to take the ingredients from the messages that are printed and spoken by the minister,
Mm-hmm.
and structure them into a recipe, and trying to apply them at a very young age, where now I guess after a 27-year form of experimentation with
Mm-hmm.
what I had learned,
Mm-hmm.
I can say, yes, it absolutely does work. And I may be able to communicate some of the principles
Mm-hmm.
in a different way, but that's the root of it. And I am, we've been happily married for the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
We don't even argue.
Wow.
We have discussions, but we never have arguments. We've
Yeah.
never gone to bed mad at each other before.
Wow.
So it's not, and my wife, she gets the majority of the credit because she does not ask for anything.
Mm-hmm.
She does not complain about anything, and we have navigated through poverty without her ever making not one complaint or even letting the condition we were in ill affect her spirit.
Wow.
And I thank Allah, because now that we're not in that state or,
Mm-hmm.
or condition, she knows she has to be very careful
Mm-hmm.
on even saying she likes something.
Mm.
If she says she likes it, I'm going to go get it.
Yeah.
And so and it doesn't matter what it is, I'm gonna figure out a way. It may take me a little longer,
Yeah.
if you're talking automobile, but I'm still gonna go get it.
Yeah.
Eventually it's gonna get got.
Yeah.
Because she's been that kind of a person. So it's I think it's D all of the above. It's the study of the minister and his relationship with Mother Khadijah, and the study of what he's taught on it, and then application of it, and able to tell people that, I ain't, we should say this. I ain't telling you what I think, I'm telling you what I know.
Yeah.
I tried it out.
Yeah.
And it works.
What out of all of the books you could name off all your titles.
Okay. Well, the relationship, two on relationships, before you say I do and after you say I do. Mm-hmm. And my latest is The Black Woman's Second Self of God. And it really deals with relationships as well. There's a long chapter in it that's called How to Love a Black Man. Mm. And that book it's the bestseller right now. I also have The Seven Jewels of God and Let This Mind Be in You. Mm-hmm. And Let This Mind Be in You is kind of like I don't know how you can say it, but it's like the concise version of different aspects of the teaching in one book in a user-friendly way.
Mm-hmm.
And Seven Jewels of God is the description of how the Supreme Being lives in you, how to feed him
Mm.
or her, how to activate him and put him in service that you can make the Supreme Being proud of you. So those are my five. I have one
Mm-hmm.
more
Mm-hmm.
that I'm in the lab with right now
Mm-hmm.
because the brothers is saying, "Why do you got the sister book? Why come where's ours?"
Yeah, because
So
they got to learn too.
so coming soon is going to be um, the well-made man,
Yes.
and I'm 80% finished
Oh,
with. I'm
beautiful.
100% finished with the book. 80% finished with the editing
Mm-hmm.
of the book, and there's a long chapter in there called
Mm-hmm.
"How to Love a Black Woman."
Mm.
So it's gonna. I think these are gonna be some books. And what produced the books, Sister
Mm-hmm.
Yanajaha, is that everywhere we were being invited to,
Mm-hmm.
I don't care who it was, whether
Yeah.
it was outside the nation,
Mm-hmm.
political organizations, economic groups, everybody that was on the front line fighting for freedom.
Mm-hmm.
Almost all of the inviters had domestic problems.
Yeah.
So we would always be sitting after the conferences, engagements at the hotel, having
Mm-hmm.
sidebar conversations on their problems at the house.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, man, look, if the home is supposed to be the spiritual recharge center,
Right.
where you unplug from this no good, wicked, white supremacist world and come to a place
Mm-hmm.
where you can plug into peace and extract power from that environment and
Mm-hmm.
then get charged up to go fight for your people in the known world better the next day.
Yes.
What happens to a soldier that's
Mm.
fighting in the world and then have to come home and do round two with their own mate?
Wow.
They are drained, where
Yeah.
they are not as effective at being what God wants them to be for the people, because
Mm-hmm.
they're unequally yoked or they're burdened
Yeah.
uh, at home, and they're being drained where they're supposed to be getting charged. So
Yeah.
I said, instead of me having to keep having these sidebar meetings
Mm-hmm.
after all these engagements, I'm gonna write a book. And it was before you say I do.
Mm-hmm.
And then that got rid of half the people that wanted to talk.
Right.
Then we still had the other half. I said,
Right.
all right, I got something for y'all after you say I do.
After you say I do.
Whoever they are, whenever they come, I said, look, take two of these and call
Call
me in the
me in the
morning.
morning.
And so far, nobody's called in the morning. They've been able to get enough out of the two books.
Yeah, they're
So,
very well written. I read both
praise
of
be
them
to Allah.
because and then I'm going back to before you say I do because I'm now divorced.
Yes,
So,
man.
out of all of the books, what is the one that was the most fun to write? The one that you had the most enjoyment?
Oh, I think I enjoyed all of them, but the last one, well, I was the most emotional.
Mm,
The Black Woman Second Self of God, because I don't
mm,
know, I couldn't stop getting out of my mind
mm-hmm,
uh, what this book could do for 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old girl
mm-hmm,
that would avoid a whole lot of mistakes
mm,
that a lot of women make uh, growing into adulthood because they don't have the proper appraisal of themselves.
mm-hmm,
And so I was crying all doing it. I was crying every time I was writing. I'd be crying, thinking
mm,
about the beauty of the Black woman and really the young girl who doesn't even know how
yeah,
valuable she is and won't hear it from no other source.
yes,
And I thought about how what we extracted from what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us about the matchless beauty of the Black woman and what
mm-hmm,
the minister has been feeding us these years. I thought how much of an impact it was going to have on them. So I think I
mm,
enjoyed writing them all, but I really,
mm-hmm,
uh, I guess, in the sense of being emotional,
mm-hmm.
that one was the most touching.
How many children do you all have?
We have three.
Three, and
We
they're
have
all
three children.
daughters.
Two daughters, one son. I have a
Mm-hmm.
26-year-old daughter, 25-year-old son, 21-year-old daughter.
Wow, and both of you all don't even look like you have grown adult children.
Man, praise be to Allah.
You-
I was tripping because my daughter just got out of high school 3 years ago.
wow.
and I was picking her up from school sometimes, and they would be telling me to go to class. I was like, so he said he came out in the lobby and said, "All right, everybody get to class." I was like, yeah, well, I see why he's regulating. I
Right.
was picking my daughter up.
Yeah.
And he said,
Yeah.
excuse me, where are you supposed to be? And I was looking around like, is he talking to me? He said, where are you supposed to be right now? I said, brother, I am here picking up my daughter from school. He said, what?
What you eating?
He said, what are you doing? He said, I'll have what he's having.
Exactly.
He said, I'll apologize. I said, well, in this case, you don't have to apologize. I take it as a compliment. I appreciate it. He said, man, that is crazy. And he went and told other people.
Yeah.
So, that's something too I learned from the minister. He made a statement once. He said that a bad relationship will cause you to age prematurely and bring out the worst in you.
Yes, it will.
And a good relationship will make you more youthful and bring out the best in you.
Yeah.
So one of the litmus tests that you can use to see whether or not you are in a good, happy, healthy relationship is, are you meaner and are you getting uglier and older?
Right.
Because if you are getting prettier or more handsome and you're more youthful and you're more happy and kind to other people, those are the residual effects of a happy, healthy relationship.
Right. Yeah. Or you can always tell when they're single because they look amazing.
Wow.
What was it like how was it when you met the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan? So you're now this assistant minister at the mosque and everything. When did you meet him?
I met him before I became any of that, or before I became a student minister. I moved to Chicago as soon as I graduated from high school.
Okay.
As it's our headquarters, and I wanted to go there to learn from the best source on how to be able to be proficient in this craft. So I went there for the ministry, to learn the ministry. And I ended up working in the projects, doing security and defending a sister from a brother that was beating her with some handlebars to a bicycle. And I took the handlebars from him and got her to go. And then he grabbed a pole, tried to hit me, chased her. We went to where they were, found out where they were at. He was busting the windows out of her apartment and turned the pole on basically me and the two brothers that were going to try to regulate it.
Wow.
And I came up the stairs after the fact. And I seen him swinging on two of the brothers. And he didn't see me, so I threw my trench coat on his head where he couldn't see and hit him and held him on the ground. Sister YoNasDa, you're not going to believe this when I tell you this.
What?
While I was holding him down on the ground, the same sister that I just got finished saving came out and tried to stab me.
Oh, my God.
And she almost stabbed me in my neck.
Oh, my God.
So I happened to just hear them saying, look out, and reached up and grabbed her arm where the knife was and got the knife out of her hand, and we left.
Oh, my God.
And lo and behold, we walked down maybe 9 flights of stairs, just walking and talking. And the brother had put the word out to everybody in the little gang that we jumped him.
Oh, no.
And they came out down to the bottom. By the time we got to the bottom, they was already down there with what appeared to be guns and other weapons. And so the brothers that were with me, we are taught that, we never are the aggressor. But if we are attacked, we fight with those who fight with us, and we fight to the death. So I'm in that mode. We are moving toward them, saying Allahu Akbar. So I thought, but I was the only one moving forward. The other ones that were working for this company, they weren't.
Oh my goodness.
They had ran and I didn't know it.
Oh no.
So
Uh-huh.
by the time I realized they had ran, I was already in the midst of all of the brothers, and I knew the head of the gang.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I put him to the side and we started talking. But while we were talking, somebody hit me in the head with a baseball bat,
Oh.
and they beat me
Mm.
uh, almost to death.
Oh no.
I didn't feel anything.
Wow.
They say I never even was unconscious.
Oh
I
my
was still
God.
conscious and talking. So when the ambulance came and got me, they had beat me so bad
Mm.
that they woke up the residents with the blows that they were landing.
Mm.
So it was the residents that came out to get them off of me and called the
Mm.
ambulance. And I went to the hospital, and
Mm-hmm.
I was messed up bad. I
Broken
had a scab
bones.
that covered the whole side of my face, a cut
Oh.
from here to here, and
Oh
I
my
was
God.
beat, bruised, and swollen, bad.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know nothing was wrong with me because, like I said, I felt nothing. And while I was in the hospital, I asked the nurse, could I see a mirror? And she told me she had to check with the doctor first.
Oh my
I said,
God.
you got to check with the doctor before you let me see myself. That doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
So she left, and I went and pulled the little bag off and went to the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, oh, man, this is a powerful drug because that can't be me in there. It don't even look nothing. This doesn't even look like me.
Oh
I
my
got back in the
goodness.
bed, and they sent me home a couple of days later, and the drugs
Mm-hmm.
wore off. I looked in the mirror. It was me.
My God.
And I thank Allah for a sense of humor
Mm-hmm.
because this is word is bond.
Mm-hmm.
I looked in the mirror and said, well, you had a good run. I said, you came up in the era where if you was light skinned with curly hair and short, you was the stuff. You happen to be all of that, so you had a good run. You can't get mad. You can't get mad. You was all right for a while. But for the rest of your days, you just not gonna be that no more. And I literally smiled, and I had concussions real bad. So I was sleeping
Oh.
probably 20
Mm-hmm.
hours a day.
Mm.
And so I got back into bed, went to sleep. All I ate
Mm-hmm.
was little peaches.
Mm.
And 3 days later, I was 100% healed.
Wow. In
Not
three
no
days.
scab. You couldn't even see the mark on my face no more. The
Oh
gash that
my.
was from my head all the way down to my neck. And
Wow.
so one of the brothers that was in the projects,
Yeah.
they say he was bragging about hitting me with the bat, and somebody found him dead.
Mm.
And they claimed that we did it. And so it
Mm.
was going to be a war. So the
Mm-hmm.
minister called everybody together that worked there as well as the gang,
Mm-hmm.
and to try to resolve it. And the minister, he couldn't believe, he was so shocked
Mm.
that I was me. And
Mm.
he talked to me afterward. And that was
Mm-hmm.
my first time meeting the minister. And he
Yeah.
said some things to me then that I didn't believe it or understand it. I can't say I didn't believe, but I didn't
Mm-hmm.
understand what he meant.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on, um, started fulfilling, I guess, a little bit of that in life for him.
Mm.
So yeah, that's how I first met the minister. But I never really in my mind, kind of the same spirit. I came, never catch me no dress shoes, always in soldier and boots. I never really
Mm-hmm.
was looking forward to or trying to find a way to meet the minister. I was satisfied
Mm.
with the relationship through the lectures. I
Yeah.
didn't really feel a need to meet him, and I still to this day am
Mm-hmm.
thankful for the undeserved gift of access to his presence
Mm-hmm.
now. But
Mm-hmm.
that's how it happened, Sister Yanaja. That's what
Wow.
happened.
Yeah. One thing I have noticed is that you've always been very just still a student, still like a young son, to our father, the Honorable Minister Farrakhan, in his presence of wanting to just learn and to soak in everything. What is one moment that stands out the most, being around the minister?
Um, they all have, you already know, they all have
Mm-hmm.
their own uniqueness to them, and
Mm-hmm.
things that he is communicating. Um, what he has to say in a lecture format is a little bit different than what he can say in a private setting. He
Mm-hmm.
can go a little deeper, and then he might even give you some of the why.
Mm-hmm.
and the bigger picture that what he is doing or said is going to produce. So I'm always feeling like a circuit got blew every time I'm around the minister. But I remember I guess one of the most is I remember the minister making a statement once. He said that talking to some preachers, he said, "You all claim to represent the Holy Spirit." He said, "But how can you represent what you don't spend time with?"
Wow.
And I remember, I wasn't in there thinking like, "Yeah, brother minister, get him,
Yeah. Yeah.
get Reverend Pork Chops,
Right.
get Bishop Hogmoth, get him."
Right. Right.
The first thing that came to my mind is, well, I'm trying to represent you, but you operate like the messenger and still the national representative of the messenger. Right. You're doing double duty. You're the primary teacher and you are in the seat of the messenger. So you're doing both. So with a schedule like yours, how can I or we represent you if we don't spend time with you? Yes. That's one question. Second question, I'm writing this down, and I'm not even at the main table. I was at one of the other back tables, and I'm writing it down, and then I put second question: is there anything that can be done to supplement spending actual time with you? An hour later, he says my name and asked me, was I here? He said, I thought I heard him. He's here. I said, yes, sir. And he gave me a compliment on my appearance. And then he said, brother, you don't have to spend time with me to represent me properly. Woo! This is his exact words. Wow. Mess blew my. I mean, I'm saying I'm writing on a little bitty notepad, the kind you can stick inside your suit pocket. And I'm at the last table at the back by the window closest to where the dish cabinet is. I'm all the way in the back, and I'm facing him. There's no way that he could see anything that I'm writing. Wow. And then he said, the kind of love that you all have to have for me is the kind of love I had to have for the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And that's not a love for him in his presence. That's a love for him in his absence. And then he named some things that I could do to supplement spending actual time. He said, so what I want you to do is always study the messenger's teaching. In fact, study all truth, but make it bear witness to the messenger's teaching. Read whatever Allah blesses your brother to write, talking about himself, and Brother Abdul Allah's article and Brother Jibril's article in the Final Call newspaper. Wow. And then he said some other things that I'm gonna put it out there, but that's kind of that to me that let you know that here's a person that is so clean, so pure, and so committed that Allah would choose him to be his mouthpiece, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad called him his trumpet, and that this man is so pure and in the bosom of Allah that I never even told him that he did that. Wow. I never even told him I had the questions written down. Yes. But he did that. Yeah. By the power of Allah working through him. So that would be, that's one of them epiphany moments. Yes. To let you know I'm sure that this is not a minister, activist, or a traditional Black leader. This is without question a divine man directly connected to the Lord of the worlds.
Yeah. And I've been in that situation where I'm like, how did you know? And he knows. He just knows, I think there was an article that I saw, or you're on a website. What is it? You and a couple other people on a website. Is it the ADL?
Oh yeah, the ADL and ADL and the Southern Poverty Law Center. All Same
all of
flavor,
these.
different label.
Right. So, how is it for you? I know how it is for me, but how is it for you to constantly I mean, we love the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. We stand on his words, on his truth, even on things that we don't see, but we continue to amplify his, his lectures, instructions, and all of that. It have cost. I know for me, it's cost me financial job opportunities. It's
Right.
cost me friendships of various walks of life. It's cost me a lot. What has it cost you, and how have you been able to deal with it all? Because I know that at times, it could be frustrating where, you're like, man, I thought I was going to do this, or, and especially like for me, like from movie deals, TV offers, like a lot of different things. And I'm like, oh, this is a great opportunity for me to continue amplifying his teaching and his words and his works.
Right.
But then once they Google me and they
Right.
see,
Right.
they're seeing the same. I know the same thing happens to you being our minister.
Right.
How do you deal with it?
Well, of course, we love to be able to, in military language,
Mm-hmm.
uh, establish a beachhead behind enemy lines.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever we can get on platforms that have been created and have gained magnetism and momentum
Mm-hmm.
to a segment of the population that we don't normally get to reach,
Yes.
then we are excited, because not that we're coming to do anything to put down what they have been representing,
Mm-hmm.
but when you put a clean glass next to a dirty glass, the people know which one to drink from.
Yeah.
And the light of the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad are so bright, it's so bright
Mm-hmm.
that once people see it in comparison to what they're normally used to hearing,
Mm-hmm.
then they'll choose a better way of living, even if they don't come all the way in the ranks like we desire. So
Mm.
we always, we always are anxious and excited whenever it looks like those platforms are going to be open up to us. But
Mm-hmm.
I learned something in the supreme wisdom
Mm-hmm.
that I had been saying wrong, and a lot of people had been saying it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
When the promise that Master Father Muhammad made to us, he said luxury, money, good homes,
Mm.
and I always used to say friendships
Mm.
in all walks of life, but it
Mm.
really is friendship,
Mm.
singular, in all walks of life.
Mm.
So this is a singular friend.
Wow.
What other singular friend do we know of that has authority of all walks of life but God himself?
Wow.
So once that math is done, you really don't care too much about what dumb, racist, or
Mm-hmm.
scared to death Negroes do,
Mm-hmm.
because they're not that friendship singular that you need.
Mm.
Now you need that one to be
Mm.
with you, and that when that one is with you, all the avenues are gonna be open. And we've learned over living, you learn that
Yeah.
Allah's answer. He answers all of our prayers generally,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes His answer is not right now,
Mm.
or I have something better for you in the future.
Woo. Yes.
So whenever I just kind of keep it in that spirit to know
Mm-hmm.
that you know, it's a test.
Yeah.
What would it profit a man or woman if they gain the whole world, but they lost their soul?
Yeah.
So I ain't tripping
How
on
how
the
have you
little.
been dealing with this whole vaccine, this whole jab controversy and everything? How have you been dealing with that, and continue to stand on no, we don't vaccinate? Have you been
Yeah.
able to deal with that?
Well, that's why they are restricting access to everything,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and they're not even telling me that they're doing it.
Yeah.
Like today, I'm trying to get on here, and to do so, have to go through a Facebook link to do it. They wouldn't even let me do it.
Wow.
and won't tell me why. It just says that you don't have access to this feature. I said, what? I can't sign in.
Yeah.
But that's that I have they went and dug up a post from 6 or 7 months ago that they're using to try to so-called justify it. But I mean, at the end of the day, if anyone does their own research on the vaccine in specific and what mRNA is, then you'll come to your own conclusion. And as the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said, out of all of our studies, history is best qualified to reward our research. Never have they, and as you know, walking a mile in your moccasins, the Native American people, they came with a medical promise too whenever they came and laced the blankets that they gave with smallpox.
Right.
So we have that. We have the Tuskegee experiment. We have the polio vaccine. We have too many historical references to ever trust the enemy, especially the government.
Yeah.
So that's that. But we're not getting ready. What we're not getting ready to do. We're not going to let this become a new segregation that puts black people against black people. And you're not going to be my enemy just because you got a vaccine.
Right.
I heard that you did it.
Yeah.
And I pray that there becomes something that can be done, or that Allah Himself will intervene in our affairs and find a way to reverse this that has gone into a lot of our people. But you're not getting ready to use this where it's getting ready to be a new form of classism among us as a people.
Yeah.
Where I'm getting ready to be anti my brother and sister because they got a vaccine. And those of you that got vaxxed, don't you be anti your brother and sister because someone did their due diligence and was still distrustful of the enemy and didn't get a vaccine. So that's that's how we've been dealing with it, and we're going to continue. As the minister told us 4th of July in 2020 that the vaccine is death itself.
Yeah.
And it's becoming very clear that that is the case. So we stand with him, and we're going to second that motion and do everything we can to keep our people out of harm's way. And if they choose to go that route, we don't stand and mockingly point when something happens to you or you are suffering illness or even death and point like we're bigger than you. I told you so.
Right.
No, we're saviors of our people still.
That's right.
And we won't allow this to become some new form of segregation, putting black against black.
Yeah. When I was in Standing Rock, the minister called me and he was like, all of us, every single person is going to have to make a point in their life. There's going to have to come to a point in their life where they have to make a decision on what they're willing to fight for and what they're willing to fight to their death. And then he said it again when we was all at the dinner table together, after that Savior's Day, which was such a powerful, he was talking to me for an hour, but I believe he was talking to all of us in the room, It was just the light was shining on me, and I was like, "Oh, the light! Take the light off of me!" It was like not one dry eye in there. But he was sharing that, and I think that right now we're at that point. Every single person is at that point of having to make that decision on what they're willing to fight for.
And to die. See, when you die for something, how can I say it? Blood speeds up and magnifies whatever you have given your life for. So when a person dies for something, it makes the people that are alive say, what is so significant about what they gave their life for, that they died for it? And what they end up doing is looking deeper into what you sacrificed your life for. So it's an honorable way to go. If you can be a martyr for a cause or for what you believe in, because your blood actually will make the cause bigger and make it accepted faster than you could have if you had stayed alive
Yeah.
most of the time. So
Yeah.
it's worthy. It's worthy of it.
Yeah. You know, one thing, last time I've been to your mosque in Indianapolis, or the People's Mosque,
Yeah.
was when I was on tour with Raekwon, on the
Wow.
Built for Cuban Links 2 tour. That was in like 2010 was the last time. You have like grown the mosque. You have
Right.
expanded. Can you let us know like what you have done in regards to, like, you literally have bought the block.
Right. Well, it's a team sport.
Mhm.
So it's a collective conscious, and I thank Allah that there's a community of brothers and sisters here in the mosque and out the mosque
Mhm.
that trust the vision, and the really we take the vision that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the minister have given us,
Mhm.
and figure out what would be our part in that, and what should our assignment be.
Yeah.
So from that, we've been able to do that, and we do have. Um, Basically, it used to be a strip mall, but we gutted it and tore it all the way down, left just 3 walls up. And
Mhm.
now we have the mosque in there. We have the area. It's not open right now for our school and for the daycare.
Mhm.
And we have a restaurant. And then now we have another facility that's operating in it as well. And it
Mhm.
is it's another restaurant, but it's a national distribution of different kind of navy bean products owned
Mm.
by some of the believers. So
Mm.
what's crazy, Sister Yanaja,
Mhm.
I've been arrested 7 times since I've been a minister,
Wow.
and
I only heard about one.
they banned us. They tried to ban us from 38th Street, which is the main street in the city of Indianapolis, going east and west.
Mhm.
And the main corner we used to be on is only 2 blocks away from the mosque, 2 city blocks from the mosque. So
Mm.
we are on 38th Street now,
Mm. Mhm.
permanently, with flagpole 33 foot high and the Star and Crescent
Mhm.
flying in a over $1 million facility that,
Mm.
as of July of last year, we
Mhm.
own it free and clear,
Wow.
paid for.
Beautiful.
So that's the 74 community, and I'm
Mhm.
thankful to Allah that they trusted and loved uh, me enough to be able to say, "We're gonna roll with you. Let's do this."
Yes.
And of course, it's not mine. It's not in my name. It's in their name.
Mhm.
But that's kind of the way that we did it, and we really wanted to create a place that kind of matched something the minister described once as an ideal mosque. And
Mm.
he said that if you had an ideal mosque, you'd have a place for, of course, the adults to be educated. That's a mosque. You need
Mhm.
something for the children to be educated, and a
Mhm.
place that we can eat food that we like,
Yes.
and then somewhere we can get ourselves together. So it
Mhm.
started with a beauty shop, barber shop, get yourself
Mhm.
together,
Mhm.
restaurant, eat our food,
Yes.
school, daycare, teach our children, and the mosque.
Mhm.
So that's kind of where we are. We have a little over 3 acres
Beautiful.
of land
Mhm.
that we are on, and right now we were at one time growing some food that we were using in our restaurant
Mhm.
in the back. We don't do that right now. A lot of the believers do,
Mhm.
but we got playground, parking lot, etc. But that's what Allah blessed us with right there on the very spot,
Yeah.
two
You know,
blocks away from where we got arrested all the time and they tried to ban us from.
so you're like in your face,
Right.
basically.
Yeah, now we are permanent fixtures. Do something
Right.
about that.
Right. You
Right.
know, one of the things that you've always loved to do, and you still do, I believe so, is always be in the hood and be amongst the people and be amongst a lot of young people and teaching and figuring out ways how to be able to help the people. You know,
Right.
last year we all got instructions to go into our chambers. You
Yeah.
know, how have you been able to continue to help the people even when you got in these instructions to go into your chambers? Like, how was that for you?
Well, it's been very challenging,
Mm-hmm.
because you don't want to put others in harm's way.
Yes.
It's crazy that within 2019 to 2020 and 2020 19, you showed love to
Mhm.
people by hugging and kissing them.
Yeah.
But just a few months after,
Mhm.
December of 2019, if you hug and kiss somebody, you weren't showing them love anymore.
Yeah.
You could be putting them in harm's way and possibly giving them, as the minister called it, maybe even a kiss of death.
Yes. Yeah.
So that kind of social interaction, very challenging because um, our people, they need to feel you
Yeah.
before they can even listen to you.
Mhm.
And so that interaction was challenging, but through social media, we was able to touch some, and through DMs, you can go digital door to door, even when you
Mhm.
can't knock on physical doors. But just moving around in the streets with the people, still
Mhm.
bumping elbows and bumping fists, still communicating with some distance from each other.
Mhm.
We still have been able to, for to some degree, stay in touch with
Yeah.
the people, but not like it was.
Mhm.
And we are anxious because here soon, in the next week and a half, uh, the mosque will be open up to the public,
Yes.
and so that's going to be a blessing. We just came back from the All Black National Convention where I was one of the keynotes, and
Yeah.
it was such a good feeling. There was about 500 Black people
Yes.
that came for 4 days,
Mhm.
networking and thinking. We still had on masks and bumped
Mhm.
fists, and still most of the people still was being socially distant, safe, but
Mhm.
it felt good to be back in the mix.
Yeah.
And I think it's important for us to look at a statement made by the most honorable Elijah Muhammad in more than one dimension.
Mhm.
He said that his best followers were in the streets.
Mm.
Most of us interpret that simply to mean that the best followers weren't yet in the mosque at the time that he said it.
Mhm.
But if you have somebody that's a hustler,
Mhm.
that's gang banging, they'll say, and you say they in them streets.
Mhm.
So in the streets is not only a location
Right.
outside of the mosque, it's also a certain type of brother and sister
Mhm.
that's out in the trenches.
Mhm.
So because of that, we have to know that the so-called gangbanger, the
Mhm.
hustler, the dope dealer, the dope user,
Mhm.
little do we know, those are the best followers
Yeah.
because they have been risking their life for something that is nothing.
Mhm.
What happens when you put the real something in their mind and heart? Now you've got one of the greatest soldiers. You can't tell me somebody willing to kill and die
Yeah.
for nothing won't be a great soldier for something.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the affinity that I personally have and that we should have
Yes.
for the soldiers that are in the streets, in them streets.
Yeah. And
And that's
you're a
why we,
perfect
we that's why
example
we try
of
to roll
that.
like that.
You're a perfect example of that. You went through this entire life. You was selling drugs, you were just putting so much energy towards, things that wasn't really fulfilling you. And then you
Right.
found, just by another woman. The woman is the second self of God. So
That's
a
right.
woman giving you the, message to the black man and 2 lectures, and then from there, look at you now, you
Yeah, well,
know.
from selling dope to selling hope.
Exactly.
So you can get at me for a quarter key of encouragement, an ounce of enthusiasm,
Right.
or a kilo of actual facts, whichever one you want, we got it.
Yes.
But that's the spirit I think we should have when
Mhm.
it comes to interacting with our brothers and our sisters. Uh, we are not doing the things that we're doing because
Mhm.
we are really bad people. We just are in a bad situation, in a bad circumstance, and we don't know any other way that has the step-by-step procedure on
Yes.
how we can get out of the economic condition of poverty that we're in. I
Yes.
always say that crime of any kind is the
Mhm.
bastard child of miseducation and poverty.
Yes.
When them two come together and produce a baby,
Mm-hmm.
it's called crime. Whether it's selling drugs, robbing, stealing, killing, whatever the crime is, miseducation and poverty mixed together is
Mm-hmm.
what produces it. So once you get that knowledge of God's self, time, the devil, and what you should be doing with your life,
Mm-hmm.
multiply uh, that by doing something for yourself and being fruitful. And I'm gonna say this,
Mm-hmm.
Sister Yanaja, I haven't put it out here yet, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing a non-scientific experiment
Mm-hmm.
on how much money you
Mm-hmm.
can save following How to Eat to Live.
Wow.
Now,
Yes.
if you just decided to follow How to Eat to Live, don't
Yes.
let you decide to go ahead and live right where you don't have the sin tax no more.
Yes.
You don't have to buy no more Black and Miles. You don't
Mm-hmm.
have to buy no more cigarillos, no more alcohol, no dope of no kind. You don't
Mm-hmm.
have no more cover charge at the club, Waffle House at 3 in the morning, or no hotel.
Bags of crab legs.
You don't have none of that no more.
Right.
So you take that sin tax out
Mm-hmm.
and you multiply just what would I save. Right now I have an account
Mm.
that I'm putting breakfast and lunch, whatever I would have spent on breakfast and lunch, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm 2.5 years in right
Wow.
now.
Uh-huh.
I'm not gonna say what it is because I'm gonna wait for about 5 years before I expose it.
At
But the
least a
way it
little
look,
bit. Okay. At
the
least.
way the way it
Uh-huh.
looks right now, within
Uh-huh.
5 years, I'll be able to go buy a brand new car off the lot cash.
Oh my God.
That's how much I'm halfway there right now, just from not breakfast and lunch in 2.5 years.
Oh my God. Where is my How to Eat to Live book? Let me get that.
Just by not eating breakfast and lunch. So
Wow.
and I have it coming out of my account every day, going to a special fund.
Yeah.
But if I
That
wait
is,
10 years, I'll be able to buy a house cash probably.
yeah. Do you ever see yourself leaving Indianapolis?
Well, I just work here. So
Uh-huh.
that, I don't know, what the future holds. Of course, we live in an era
Uh-huh.
where you live doesn't impact your ability to have an impact.
Yes.
So you can be anywhere at any time pretty fast, even to the point of instantly, like we are right now,
Mm-hmm.
virtually, and still have an impact. But
Mm-hmm.
I am thankful to Almighty God Allah for where we are and what we have,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, I like working, and
Mm-hmm.
whatever and wherever that the minister would see that I could be the best help to him.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to be there, even if he said that I'm going to relocate you to Mars and just wait for Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and them to come there, and when they get there,
And
take their
Kanye
chips
probably.
from them and come
Right.
back and get them.
Right.
Whatever he said. So that's you know I there's a verse in the Quran that says Allah knows best where to place His message,
Mm-hmm.
and so I never put any energy on trying to find out where I should be.
Yeah.
I want to be His message though.
Yes.
So wherever that would be, I am at the service
Yes.
of the minister, and I want to be a good tool, weapon, and instrument in His hand.
Mm-hmm.
And however He sees fit to use me, I want to be used.
Thank you so much for, taking us on your journey in your moccasins today. What
All
is
praise due to
something
Allah.
that, through your life experiences, through your testimony, what do you would like for everyone to get out of it?
Well, I had wished that somebody had told me
Mm-hmm.
uh, this whenever I was young. I accidentally, on purpose, snuck up on it.
Mm.
Whenever I made my decision to get out the dope game. Do you know what solidified me wanting to get out of the streets? Is I was sitting on a porch one day,
Mm-hmm.
and a question came to my mind: what were the dope fiends doing when they were your age?
Hmm.
And so I went, and this day I decided to go through the neighborhood to a trap house, liquor store, alleys, everywhere that everybody was at getting served. And
Mm-hmm.
instead of serving anybody, I went and interviewed everybody that was on drugs. And almost all of them said,
Yeah.
when we was your age, we was getting money just like you.
Wow.
I said, you mean getting money just like me? What do you mean? Painting cars, cutting grass? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
He said, no, we was hustling.
Wow.
And I said, you mean it? So in other words, if I keep doing what I'm doing
Mm-hmm.
at my age, I'm going to be where you are whenever I reach your age. So that was some extra juice to help me to quit.
Mm.
But I wish that somebody had also said to me, not only should you go and interview people that you don't want to be like, and if you find anything about you and them that matches each other when they were your age, then renegotiate your habits. But also go and find people that you do want to be like and ask them what they were doing when they were your age or what they do to be successful. And you'll find that they'll tell you everything that they did, wish they wouldn't have done, and wish they should have done. And if you mix all that together, you can become them faster than they became themselves.
Wow.
So I say that to the young brothers and sisters in specific, but to all of us in general.
Mm-hmm.
Interview people you don't want to end up being like. And if you got habits that match theirs, renegotiate yours. Interview people you do want to be like. And if there's things that they're doing that you're not doing, start incorporating them so that you can become a better version of them faster than they became themselves.
Beautiful.
Hope that makes sense.
Yes, it does. Thank you so much, Student Minister Nuri Muhammad. How can everyone get in contact with you?
NuriMuhammad.com is the easiest way of my social media. Yeah, my Instagram is Nuri Muhammad for now until they kick me off. On Facebook, it's the same, and Brother Nuri on Twitter. But either way it goes, just if you Google my name, they'll find a lot. You'll find a lot of ways to get in touch with me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sister
Okay.
YoNasDa.
Okay, I'm gonna end it.